As I opened the old envelope, a quiet smile appeared. The story I'd been searching for had been closer than I knew. I thought it belonged to someone far away, but from the very beginning it had been written for me. Some words can only be understood after enough time has passed. The letter that reached me, a message from my younger heart, a simple wish to remind me I'd be alright. The letter that reached me said I was doing fine. A note written for the version of me who worried all the time. Back then I probably believed everything was harder than it seemed. There were days I stumbled and days I felt alone. Yet looking back now, I can finally see I made it through much more than I ever believed. The worries that once looked enormous feel smaller now somehow. The letter that reached me, a message from my younger heart, a simple wish to remind me I'd be alright. The letter that reached me said I was doing fine. A note written for the version of me who worried all the time. If you're still uncertain, if you're still afraid, then read this letter once again and hear what it says. The letter that reached me, now I think I understand. Through all those ordinary days, I was stronger than I knew. The letter that reached me, and in its final line, it simply said, you'll be alright. To the younger me, don't worry, you're gonna do just fine. Today felt a little different. Familiar things seem new somehow. A sentence I'd passed 100 times suddenly caught my attention. Maybe it had always been there, maybe I simply hadn't seen it. But tonight it felt as though it was waiting for me. There was no name written down, yet it was clearly meant for someone. There was no address at all, yet it seemed to know where it belonged. The nameless recipient, who are you waiting for? A heart that stayed so long must still be looking somewhere. The nameless recipient, why do I notice you now? The answer is still far away, yet somehow it feels closer. This afternoon by the window, a thought quietly appeared. Can feelings remain unnamed for longer than we expect? Can sincerity wander without knowing where to go? Can our hearts spend years searching for a place to arrive? The wind always finds a direction, the stars always find their light. Why do some feelings take so much longer? The nameless recipient, who are you waiting for? A heart that stayed so long must still be looking somewhere. The nameless recipient, why do I notice you now? The answer is still far away, yet somehow it feels closer. Maybe the most important thing was never the name itself, because a sincere heart already knows where it belongs. The nameless recipient, I find myself wondering tonight, what does a heart look like when it's walking towards someone? The nameless recipient, following your story somehow. I caught myself thinking of someone else again. I was searching for an answer, and somehow I thought of you.
People often ask me why I take things so slow. They say if something matters, why not let it show? And every time I hear that, I simply smile and say, some feelings are more beautiful when they find their own way. Like seasons changing softly, like daylight fading into night. Some things don't need a hurry to become part of your life. Hearts arrive slowly, and that's perfectly alright. There's no need to name them early when they already know the way. Hearts arrive slowly, drawing closer day by day. A little more tomorrow than they were today. Lately I've been thinking about familiar footsteps near, a greeting that feels warmer each time I happen to hear. No plans have been made, nothing has been said aloud, yet some people quietly become part of your thoughts. You may not always see it, but some things gently grow, and often those are the feelings that stay the longest. Oh, hearts arrive slowly, and that's perfectly alright. There's no need to name them early when they already know the way. Hearts arrive slowly, drawing closer day by day. A little more tomorrow than they were today. The wind knows where it's going, the stars know how to shine, and I believe sincere feelings always arrive in time. Hearts arrive slowly, that's what makes them precious, more lasting than a passing moment, more gentle than a rush. Hearts arrive slowly, so I'll wait a little more for the stories hidden softly behind each verse.
was much older than I expected. The paper carried traces of time, faded edges and quiet marks left behind by passing years. Some may have forgotten, some may not remember at all. Yet somehow the feeling inside had never really left. Time changes many things, but maybe not everything. The oldest letter, a heart that waited patiently through changing seasons without fading away. The oldest letter still feels warm somehow, maybe because sincerity outlives the years. Even the breeze by the window felt strangely familiar tonight. A distant day kept drawing closer, one memory at a time. Between the scattered fragments, I saw a familiar smile and a forgotten name pass quietly through my mind. Maybe some memories don't disappear at all. Maybe they simply take their time coming home. The oldest letter, a heart that waited patiently through changing seasons without fading away. The oldest letter still feels warm somehow, maybe because sincerity outlives the years. If time could speak, what story would it tell? Perhaps it would begin with that day. The oldest letter, I think I understand now why I traveled so far to arrive here tonight. The oldest letter, I open it once again, and somewhere inside I find a piece of myself. This story began long before I knew it. At first it was the mystery I wanted to understand, a story that seemed to linger long after it began. But somewhere along the way, something quietly changed. Now someone else comes to mind before the answers do. How was your day today? Did anything make you smile? Questions like these keep finding me lately. More curious about you than the letter, somehow that's become true. I came looking for answers and found more questions about you. More curious about you than the letter, I don't really know why. I just find myself wanting to hear more of your story tonight. The way you smile by the window, the casual greetings you shared, nothing extraordinary happened, yet those moments stayed there. I can't explain the reason, at least not yet, but when the evening comes I find myself remembering them. What's your favorite season? What do you do on quiet days? There are still so many things I have yet to learn. More curious about you than the letter. Somehow that's become true. I came looking for answers and found more questions about you. More curious about you than the letter. I don't really know why. I just find myself wanting to hear more of your story tonight. Maybe this is what it feels like to slowly get to know someone. When the journey becomes more interesting than the destination. More curious about you than the letter. You're on my mind again. There are no plans, no promises, yet I keep looking ahead. More curious about you than the letter. Maybe little by little I'll learn another piece of your story tomorrow. At first it was the letter. Now it's you.
Yeah, yeah. Na 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 na. At the usual time tonight, I step through the familiar door. Somehow without realizing it, I've been coming here more and more. We shared a simple greeting, talked about ordinary things. Then I carefully brought up a question I'd been carrying. Can I ask you something? You smiled and nodded gently, and somehow I found myself taking a breath before speaking. Is this your letter? I only asked a simple thing, yet the way your eyes pause for a moment keeps returning to me. Is this your letter? Just a small question in the air, but somehow the fleeting moment stayed with me more than your answer. The light beside the window fell softly through the room, and everything seemed ordinary, just like any other evening. No, it isn't. A short reply, yet somehow it felt as though it arrived a second late. Maybe I imagined it, maybe it meant nothing at all. Still that brief silence refuses to leave my thoughts. Is this your letter? I only asked a simple thing, yet the way your eyes pause for a moment keeps returning to me. Is this your letter? Just a small question in the air, but somehow the fleeting moment stayed with me more than your answer. Perhaps we remember people not through words alone, but through tiny moments that quietly linger on. Is this your letter? The answer doesn't matter now, because somewhere along the way a different question appeared. Is this your letter? Since that evening I found myself wondering more about you than anything else. You said it wasn't
Stop by the postcard shop, looking for another clue. Though if I'm being honest, there was something else I wanted to. The moment I stepped inside, a familiar voice reached me. You're here again, and somehow that made me smile. A little more comfortable than before, a little more natural today. For some reason this little shop makes my worries fade away. You're here again, why did those words feel so nice? Being remembered somehow feels warmer than I realized. You're here again, a simple phrase, that's all, yet it stayed with me long after I left the shop. I pretended to browse postcards just to stay a little longer, trying to think of something clever, though they never made it easier. Whether she noticed or not, I'll probably never know. She was smiling while arranging postcards, just like before. Nothing extraordinary happened, yet it was a wonderful day. Maybe the reason is simpler than I think. You're here again, why did those words feel so nice? Being remembered somehow feels warmer than I realized. You're here again, a simple phrase, that's all, yet it stayed with me long after I left the shop. People are funny sometimes, a few words can change a day, turning an ordinary afternoon into something you'd like to replay. You're here again, and today I finally replied, yeah, I guess I am, and it felt perfectly alright. You're here again, maybe that's why I already find myself hoping to come back tomorrow night. I came looking for a letter and left with a smile instead. Today I found myself wondering about the person who wrote this letter. What expression were they wearing? What kind of night were they living through? Before writing down the single line, how long did they hesitate? The small piece of a feeling keeps drawing me in. There must have been a quiet moment spent thinking of someone, one sentence at a time. The one who wrote this letter, where are they now? Does that feeling from long ago still look in the same direction? The one who wrote this letter, what did they want to say between those simple words? I can almost hear a heart. Were they sitting by a window, walking beneath the late night light? Were they sitting by a window, walking beneath the late night lights? I don't know the answer, yet I keep imagining. Sometimes the things left unsaid remain longer than the words themselves. Maybe they knew that too. Sometimes a single sentence can tell you more about a person than 100 emotions. The one who wrote this letter, where are they now? Does that feeling from long ago still look in the same direction? The one who wrote this letter, what did they want to say between those simple words? I can almost hear a heart. Maybe they were waiting for an answer to, maybe somewhere beneath the same sky they're still looking back. The one who wrote this letter, I think I understand a little more. Not what they wrote, but what they chose to keep inside. The one who wrote this letter, if we ever meet someday, I'd like to hear the rest of the story. Maybe they're closer than I think.
To you, I never thought I'd write this letter. I believe the day had already passed into a distant memory. Yet somehow it stayed with me. Isn't that strange? We didn't spend much time together, but whenever a memory turns, it always begins there. You probably never knew how many times I smiled on the way home that evening. The words left unsaid, the ones I quietly carried home. I smiled as though everything was simple, but that wasn't the whole truth. The words left unsaid, I'm finally writing them down. Meeting you made that ordinary day feel a little brighter somehow. Nothing extraordinary happened, it was just another day. Yet for reasons I still can't explain, that day never faded away. Perhaps it was only a moment you hardly remember now, but it stayed with me long after it was gone. Some feelings felt too shy to place into spoken words, so I'll leave them here instead. The words left unsaid, the ones I quietly carried home. I smiled as though everything was simple, but that wasn't the whole truth. The words left unsaid, I'm finally writing them down. Meeting you made that ordinary day feel a little brighter somehow. Do you remember that small greeting we shared? It seemed ordinary at the time, yet it became something special to someone standing there. The words left unsaid still remain somewhere inside, and perhaps now I understand why they never disappear. The words left unsaid, if they ever reach you someday, please tell me you remember that smile from long ago. To you and to the person I was that day.
Looks like I still haven't found the answer, I said it with a smile. You looked out the window and and quietly smiled back. There's no need to hurry. For some reason those words stayed with me. Long after the moment passed, I asked you why. And after thinking for a while, you answered softly. Letters remember the way once they know where they belong. Even if they travel farther than expected, they eventually arrive. Letters remember the way, and a moment later you smiled and added, hearts do too. Since hearing those words, I've been thinking about them often. Can some feelings really know where they're meant to go? Maybe not everything needs to arrive quickly. Maybe some things are beautiful because they take time. The light beside the window, the quiet passing hours. Why do I remember that moment so clearly? Letters remember the way once they know where they belong. Even if they travel farther than expected, they eventually arrive. Letters remember the way, and a moment later you smiled and added, hearts do too. Sometimes belief arrives before understanding does. And that day I stopped searching for answers and started listening to my heart. Letters remember the way, that's why they can wait. Because somewhere deep inside they already know. Letters remember the way, I still think about those words. And somehow whenever I do, I think of you. Hearts do too. And somehow I haven't forgotten that. Today I met someone unusual, or maybe I should say the owner of the little shop right beside the post office. At first I thought she was simply arranging postcards, but somehow it felt as though she was organizing memories instead. Some people choose landscapes, some people choose words, yet she seemed to be choosing pieces of forgotten hearts. The little postcard shop next door, warm and glowing through the night, filled with colors that somehow made everything feel bright. The little postcard shop next door, and what caught my attention most wasn't the postcards on the shelves, but the smile behind them all. Postcards covered every wall, little scenes from distant places, and as she moved between them, everything seemed unhurried. Though we'd never met before, there was something strangely familiar, the kind of person you find yourself noticing twice. I went there searching for a letter, yet walking back I realized it was her words. I remembered most the little postcard shop next door, warm and glowing through the night, filled with colors that somehow made everything feel bright. The little postcard shop next door, and what caught my attention most wasn't the postcards on the shelves, but the smile behind them all. better than letters, and smiles better than names. The little postcard shop next door still had its lights on tonight, and somehow I wanted to visit again. The little postcard shop next door, I still don't know her name, yet somehow I've become curious about the person behind the postcards. I went looking for a letter and found the beginning of a story instead. Today felt a little quieter. Maybe that's why the conversation lasted longer and laughter came more easily. Sitting by the window, talking about this and that. Before we knew it, time had quietly slipped away. It wasn't really a plan, yet somehow it became one of those days you wanna remember. A lemonade and an old postcard, and someone sitting across from me. Somehow that was all it took to make the day feel complete. A lemonade and an old postcard, and time moving gently by. An ordinary afternoon became something special tonight. Yeah, we talked about favorite songs and little childhood memories. Nothing important on the surface, yet somehow it meant a lot. Sometimes we laughed together for exactly the same reason, and I realized how nice that felt. Today I learned some things matter more than answers. Sometimes it's simply the time spent together. A lemonade and an old postcard, and someone sitting across from me. Somehow that was all it took to make the day feel complete. A lemonade and an old postcard, and time moving gently by. An ordinary afternoon became something special tonight. Yeah. Someday stay in your memory, not because of what happened, but because of how they felt. I think today was one of those days. A lemonade and an old postcard, a warm smile and an easy laugh. Every little moment today feels worth holding on to. Yeah. A lemonade and an old postcard, and a distance slightly smaller than before. That alone was enough to make it a beautiful day. That was fun. Yeah, it really was.
After closing up for the night, there's always a quiet hour, a little time beneath the lights to gather the moments of the day. People leave more behind than they ever realize. Even simple smiles sometimes stay longer than goodbye. Some feelings fade quickly, some remain for years, and honestly, I still don't know why. The heart mailbox filled with the words left unsaid, feelings that never found a place and quietly stayed instead. The heart mailbox never worries about time, because since still searching for something. Maybe he keeps something precious somewhere inside his heart. For some reason lately I've been curious about that part. Maybe it's nothing special, maybe it's simply passing by. Still somehow it stays on my mind. The heart mailbox filled with the words left unsaid, feelings that never found a place and quietly stayed instead. The heart mailbox never worries about time, because sincere hearts always arrive when they're meant to. People often ask me why I keep these stories here, and I always smile and answer the same way every year. Maybe they're still finding their way. The heart mailbox keeps its light on every night, waiting for wandering hearts to return when the time is right. The heart mailbox, and somewhere along the way, I hope every sincere feeling finds where it belongs someday. Lately, one person comes to mind first.
Hidden inside an old piece of paper, there was a sentence waiting quietly. Why did it appear now? What a night of all nights, it had always been there. Yet somehow it felt as though it had been waiting for this very moment. The more I read, the more familiar it felt, even though I'd never seen it before. My heart recognized the final line, changed the story completely. Scenes that once stood far apart began to connect. The final line, why does it feel so familiar? An answer I can't explain keeps echoing inside me. The wind from that day, the laughter from that day, little fragments of memory slowly found their light. Maybe the things I thought I'd forgotten never truly disappeared. Maybe they simply waited for tonight. Memories arrive slowly, but hearts remember first. Maybe that's why I couldn't look away. The final line changed the story completely. Scenes that once stood far apart began to connect. The final line, why does it feel so familiar? An answer I can't explain keeps echoing inside me. Maybe the answer was closer than I imagined, so close that I never saw it. The final line, I read it once again tonight, and somehow places I feel like I've read these words before.
Strange, a place I'd never seen before. Somehow felt familiar, as though I'd been there once. A passing sentence, a melody in the distance, nothing important on its own, yet something made me stop. It doesn't quite feel like memory, yet it doesn't feel new. The harder I try to understand it, a fragment of forgotten memory disappears when I reach for it. It always feels so close, yet never close enough. A fragment of forgotten memory. Where did you come from? You rise so quietly, like a story from long ago. In a window, a shadow standing still, and somehow before I knew it, my heart reacted first. It felt like someone was smiling, it felt like someone called a name. Only traces remain, yet they feel surprisingly clear. Am I supposed to remember, or simply wait? Without an answer feels alright somehow. A fragment of forgotten memory disappears when I reach for it. It always feels so close, yet never close enough. A fragment of forgotten memory. Where did you come from? You rise so quietly, like a story from long ago. The heart remembers first and memory follows later. Maybe that's why lately I've trusted feelings more than explanations. Fragment of forgotten memory is slowly coming together. Scattered scenes and quiet moments finding their place at last. A fragment of forgotten memory I still don't understand, but somehow it feels like someone is waiting at the end. Strangely, I remember to smile.
To my beautiful days, there's something I've wanted to say. We've traveled through so many seasons and come farther than we knew. Do you remember those afternoons filled with laughter, when it felt like the whole world was cheering us on? Sometimes we lost our way, sometimes we stopped to rest, yet every single moment brought us here. To my beautiful days, thank you for everything. The joy and even the tears were gifts along the way. To my beautiful days, may happiness stay with you, like sunlight on a quiet morning. May warmth follow you too. It's alright to move slowly, it's alright to take the long road. Just like flowers blooming, each in their own time. Meet good people, share kind hearts, and treasure each ordinary day as it comes. May there be more smiles than worries, more excitement than hesitation, more love than regret in the days ahead. To my beautiful days, thank you for everything, the joy and even the tears were gifts along the way. To my beautiful days, may happiness stay with you like sunlight on a quiet morning. May warmth follow you too. And if difficult days arrive, don't stay there too long. Beyond every passing cloud, the sky is still waiting. To my beautiful days, I hope you laugh often and make wonderful memories with those you love. To my beautiful days, I'll keep cheering for you, because even this moment is a beautiful day to be happy, be healthy, love deeply, and may every chapter of your life be beautiful.
Looks like another day has passed without a clue in sight. I searched for answers everywhere, yet nothing felt quite right. Still something feels unusual. I thought I'd be disappointed, but somehow on the way back home my steps felt light instead. Maybe the reason was never in the answer after all. Returned again today. The story hasn't changed at all. So why does this feel like such a wonderful day? Returned again today. I didn't find what I was looking for yet. Somehow the moments we shared keep growing more and more. We talked about the changing seasons and little things along the way. Nothing important on the surface, yet time just slipped away. Even the quiet moments now feel easier than before. And somehow we keep finding more reasons to smile. Thinking back on it, today was pretty nice. Returned again today. The story hasn't changed at all. So why does this feel like such a wonderful day? Returned again today. I didn't find what I was looking for yet. Somehow the moments we shared keep growing more and more. Sometimes the road beside someone means more than reaching the end. Sometimes a conversation matters more than the answer itself. Returned again today. Maybe that's alright, because now I have a reason to come back tomorrow night. Returned again today. Yet strangely when I look behind
sunlight fills the street, step by step into the day. When a brand new breeze arrives, your heart begins to sway. The world is wider than it seems, filled with stories yet untold. On the gift of today, paint another dream in gold. Little shining moments gather one by one, and a brighter smile today rises with the sun. You did great today. Smile and look around. The season of your shining days is blooming all around. You did great today. Keep walking with the light. Tomorrow's beautiful surprises awaiting just ahead. Blue skies beyond the window, golden light across the room. A favorite song begins to play and lifts the afternoon. Little wishes in your heart slowly come alive, growing gently through the laughter, like flowers in the springtime. The days of childhood wonder and these beautiful days now become a single story, still unfolding somehow. You did great today. Smile and look around. The season of your shining days is blooming all around. You did great today. Keep walking with the light. Tomorrow's beautiful surprises awaiting just ahead. Along the road you're traveling, moments yet to come, unopened pages of your story sparkle like the stars. You did great today. Lift your eyes and see this chapter of your life is shining brilliantly. You did great today. Let's